Hello and welcome to Pigeon Duiwe News. My name is Tato Schone and today we're still in Cape Town on the Pigeon Duiwe News Cape Town tour, and we're going to see more fanciers in the Western Cape. They'll be telling us about their experience racing in Cape Town. Stay tuned.
Hi everybody. I would like to spread a message to catch the South African Pigeon News portal on pigeonduiwenews.com, and don't miss their web series where different fanciers get featured on the show every Fridays on YouTube. Pigeon Duiwe News TV. The news company is owned by Mr. Samuel, whom I met and who is a client of Pipa and who used to buy the Golden Prince and Gentle Lady and every other, many other super pigeons. And his main objective is to grow the sport, the pigeon sport in South Africa, as there is a big potential, and also to grow the sport worldwide. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to like or comment the channel. So I would like to say hello to all the pigeon fanciers in South Africa. Many regards from Belgium. I'm Nicholas. This was Nicholas from Pipa from Belgium. Bye-bye.
Mr. Zubair, welcome to the show.
Pleasure's mine and welcome, Tabo. Thank you for allowing me to be hosted by you guys. It's an honor to have you here at my place.
And can you give us a background where it all started? I mean, how did you start racing pigeons?
I started as a youngster where I had a love for pigeons. I wasn't somebody to run around with the local kids, and I kept myself to the loft, and like many of our fanciers in the Western Cape, we have a love and affinity for animals in general. But because the pleasure we get from pigeons, that you rear them, you send them away and they come back to their owner, that loft that they love so much, and the effort and time that you put in. And starting from about primary school days up to about high school, I've had pigeons, not racing, but I was quite involved with racing fanciers that mentored me over the years. Some of them has passed on, unfortunately, and only started racing a few years back, let's call it professionally, because I believe that if you're in a race in the sport, you need to be professional in the way you approach the sport, to be on top of the results week in and week out. Can you tell us
what features do you put in place to ensure that you're in front and you are a professional fancier?
Sure, certainly. The common thread that most people know and speak of is having good pigeons or great pigeons. Not always easily acquired that, but myself and my partner Simba from Angola, we share everything. Our pigeons we buy together, we contribute together and everything. It makes it easier when you have a partnership. As an individual is difficult, however, that is not for me the holy grail, because I believe that a mediocre pigeon in a top class fancier can be deemed and seen as a very good pigeon, and vice versa as well. A top class pigeon can make a mediocre fancier look exceptionally well, which is where I started off, having a breeding pair that is actually bred phenomenally for myself, and being a starter in the racing fraternity made me look as a person that knew much about pigeons, which I didn't. However, I think the pertinent question most fanciers must ask when they have a mentor is not the pedigree of the pigeon, the history of the pigeon. They got to start with the basics and the foundation, which I believe they need to ask is, how do you go about keeping your pigeon healthy year in, year out, from your breeding pigeons to your racing pigeons? And if you can do that, you're going to get, and you're going to find a diamond in that rough that's going to be able to outshine and show you what he can do if you are going to look after him properly.
Your performances, can you just give us a highlight on that?
Sure. This year, I was fortunate enough thus far to have raced and won 3 truck races. One weekend, I raced and won both truck races on the same weekend. Following weekend, thereafter, I won again the truck race. The very first race, I won the Combine Federation. I think I won about 6 federations thus far, and also I've got about 2 positions second on the truck. So it's been a good year for me, I would say.
What's the difference racing in the Western Cape than Joburg or KZN or Bloemfontein?
To be honest, I can't say much on how the fanciers race in Johannesburg and other areas. I haven't been there, I haven't raced there, so I can't say from a competitive perspective. However, I do have a lot of respect for the pigeons in the Western Cape. If you take a flight with the aeroplane, the airport is not far from here, and you fly across, you guys say to go to Johannesburg, and you look at the mountain ranges you have to cover in the Western Cape. It's easy 10 to 13 kilometers mountainous range, which is the last mile for a pigeon when he comes from a 800-kilometer race. He's got to fly 800 kilometers in the harshest of conditions and still got to cover another 10 kilometers of mountainous terrain just to be able to get to his loft. So it's no easy feat for a pigeon actually in the Western Cape to come, and the weather in the Western Cape, you'll have all 4 seasons in one day.
What features do you do to ensure that birds do come back here?
Okay, I don't do much of a motivation system. I fly to the birds. Due to time, I am not able to do the widow system. However, I believe that the bird must love his perch. He needs to feel safe in it. And because we have a area with a lot of hawks, I make sure that they feel safe. If they see a hawk, they run inside. They need to be sharp enough to go inside and they feel safe. Once they feel safe and you're not overcrowded in your loft, you're going to get the pigeons going to do, I call it a true performance. A true performance that is not motivated with chemicals or enhancements and that. He's going to fly to the loft because essentially you're going to win a race where you have actually used some form of muti and the pigeon wins. Who you're fooling? You're fooling yourself because you're not going to be able to breed a family from that pigeons. You're going to be able to have fly one day here, this week in, and next week another race if you're lucky. But you're not going to build a family. And my aim with my partner is to be able to breed a formidable family that will be able to perform at my home as well as one-off races as well. But this particular pigeon, his parents has bred me numerous winners already. He's a 2-year-old. He won the SSPO truck race this year. He's been constantly in the clock. He's always been our first bird on numerous times as well. And for me, it was a good achievement because I tend to win more on hens. And this year, I'm getting the cock birds I'm in. Now, this particular bird, father is from the 109 line. I don't know if you heard about that. It's more a pigeon that Robert Swanepoel got as a gift from Henk de Vreed. It was gifted to him. The last 3 digits on the ring number was 109, and then we referred to the 109. It's a phenomenal hen in the Western Cape, Johannesburg. All over this pigeons has been performing top class in many lofts. It makes a mediocre loft look good, and that is what happened to me. My first race, when I raced in the federated board, his sister, and I raced both federated board and PO. His sister, which I call champ, she's in the stock loft now. She won the PO truck, and it's been my time with it on a numerous occasions. In the final race, we had a dual race with the WCPDA and the federated board, and she flew away on the in my union at least by an hour. Due to unfortunate reasons, I was disqualified through not following procedures. Let's leave it at that. And I knew what she did for me is not what I need to prove to others. And from that year, I thought it was a fluke. But then I put the parents together. It's 3 years now later. I've bred 7 truck winners from that, of which 2 were double truck winners. So that is a phenomenal pair. That has been my best pair, breeding pair that she only had 2 races thus far. On the first race, she went second federation. And she went 9th truck. And there's a pigeon that I actually fancied a lot, and I always give feedback to the fanciers that I get pigeons from. Unfortunately, he got rid of the parents of this little hen, and I told him from the start point that this pigeon is, for me, it was a super pigeon. I loved it a lot. Second race, she won me the federation, and she went high on the track again. So for 2 races thus far, she's proven to be a worthy racer. So much that
It's a bit feisty.
yeah, no, you'll find lots of my pigeons got that vigor in them.
And I see the short wings, more of a long distance.
To be honest, I'm not much of a theory man that knows much about theory. They say the more you know, the less you actually find out you really know. And that's where you really make a mistake. So I take all theories to not too hard, but with a pinch of salt. Because there is certain merit to everything. But what I do is when I look, say for example, I will look at the pigeon's eye, and it's a we call a pearl eye or bland eye. Most people don't like doing that. But certain breeds of family, you can breed them pearl to pearl. Now, like I said, I train my pigeons hard, and I race them hard as well. I believe that if you want to compete at the one-off races, you need to be able to test them here and that. This little hen showed a lot of potential last year, and I raced the 12 races in a row. She was always my time bidder in the top 3. She hasn't showed much performance this year yet. Maybe because I haven't also given her much opportunity to race this year. But she raced 12 hours, 13 hours, tailwinds, but mostly long hours on the wing. So to test the family to see if they can take the pan punch, because a lot of people believe these birds are speed birds where they can only win fast races, which is not the case.
And I see it's a medium, got a medium size.
Yes. Okay. And one smash race, we only had 2 birds through the union, 22 birds on the truck. She went 22nd and second in the federation as well.
So what's your objectives going forward towards the end of the year, next year going forward? I've heard you've mentioned your partner from Angola. Are you going to race? Are you planning racing that side or?
My partner is racing in Angola, yes, but due to work commitments, he is not able to give it 100% there. Hence, we do the partnership here. I've got more time than he has, and he's traveling a lot often. So we share information all the time. We experiment with things to see how to keep the pigeons fitter, see how to keep them healthier as well. And there, that side, the heat is quite a problem. So if we find something that helps for the heat, I will try and see if it works this side as well. So sharing knowledge and information is quite critical, and that is where I believe fanciers need to come together. I've got a group of friends, we're about 5. We share what works in our loft. I say by doing that we save 5 years of trial and error. If I did something on a particular weekend and it worked for me, the way I trained, the way I fed, and they did something similar or different, and one's performance better than the other, we will share that information and they will try the same thing and say, hey, but that is the better for the particular circumstances in the weather that we're going across.
Yeah, no, that's good. So anyone can join this group of yours? Or is it exclusive?
No, I welcome anybody. It's a group of friends that's always here in and out weekends and during the week as well. So we just a close-knit guys. There's a new fancier that comes along. We will try and each one breed him and give him something and see how the birds perform with them as well. Because I can test my birds only to a certain degree. But if I share my pigeons with them, we are amongst each other, then you can see if they perform well at other lofts as well. And that's what it's all about. So because we improve each other's lofts all the time, and the knowledge information that we share is pertinent. And in this day and age, you can't be selfish and keep information for yourself.
What's your? I know racing here is a bit tough, but what's your ultimate? You can say tip that you can give out to youngsters and everyone racing, especially here in the Western Cape.
Good question. Besides the fact of being observant, I think you need to visit the top fanciers in your areas, and I've done that where I've gone to 2 fanciers that at that stage was the best in the organization, namely Mr. Salih Davids and the latter Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed. Ibi Mohammed. Both of them phenomenal fanciers, top fanciers that I look up and always trying to beat them on the day. And I went and spoke to them, tried to source information from them. They were open enough, they were gentlemen in the sport to tell me. And I looked at the feeding regime because I don't know much how to feed. I just got a heavy hand, I tell people. And I look at what Mr. Davids does. He's feeding. I look at Mr. Mohammed's feeding. Both super fanciers from start to end. And nobody can deny that fact with their result speaks for themselves. And what I noticed, their feeding is actually chalk and cheese. Believe it or not. And from that I did decipher that feeding is important, but it's what and how you feed that must complement the training. That is important. And I believe that that when you start feeding, you need to feed your pigeons in a certain way from the day you wean them. It's because I have a heavy hand, I will feed the babies as much as I want. My food will lay there and people can attest when they come here, and then they pick up the food. My birds know they got food all the time, so they don't overeat themselves. So when I start training them and I train them hard, they will eat what they need to put back what they lost. So I don't mind, and when I train this before pre-season, I will train every single day. Once they've done the loft training, they fit around the loft, I train them every single day because they leave, they need to be sharp. And you got to do changes. If something works for you, you must always try and be doing some changes to whereby you got to upgrade your performance. And you can upgrade your performance not with drastic changes, but with slight changes, 5% to your program or 5% to the way you train, and then see what if there's improvement or not. And last year I tried to being the COVID year, shorten the races. We didn't know whether we're going to race or not. Then I experimented last year a lot with feeding. Tried to feed like other people feed, other than the way I fed my birds. And I would say I only won 2 federations and 1 truck race, a couple of seconds. But for me it was a bad season because not on the performance that I did, but on the losses that I had. And you need to aim not only to win, you need to aim to have that follow-up. Your pigeon's follow-up speaks volumes on what you're doing in your loft. Not the pigeon that won 3 hours or hour away from your loft and you had no other bird to be seen. That's a luck to me in my books. However, you have a follow-up and your birds are back within the short time frame that your goal that you set for yourself. That is when you know you're on the right track, and you need to win your own loft before you can win another person's loft.
In terms of, it's called a family sport.
Yes.
Is that case in your loft?
My kids are animal lovers, yes they are. Not so much with pigeons though, but they love the dogs and the cats. My beautiful bride, my wife, I just got married last week. She's been helping me when she came into the loft. I think the pigeons could see I had this broad smile on my face, and they were excited to see my smile and race home quickly.
What's the biggest mistake you've done here?
My fear that I had was that I thought I had only one phenomenal breeding pair that was putting my results up. That particular pair has bred me 7 truck winners, of which there's 2 double truck winners. There's probably in the region of about 6 second truck positions from that pair and many other top truck positions. And it was just them that was racing. And I then decided to improve my stock and get more pigeons in that was performance breeders. And I set a standard for myself that I will not bring in a pigeon unless I can get rid of another pigeon. So that is my standard. So if I bring in one pigeon, I must be able to know that pigeon can substitute 2 other breeding pairs in my loft. That way I try and keep the crowd in the stock loft minimal, and I know what I'm bringing is better by getting rid of something else. Not that the other pigeons are not as good. So we have to have that standard where our breeding stock is concerned. And by setting that standard in the last 2 years, I've managed to acquire now 3 other click pairs that's bred truck winners for me. So that has actually been exciting part of the sport for me this year. That is not just one pair that's doing the breeding, and that I got to rely and depend and breed my whole loft full from them. I got now more to play with, and I got 3 other pairs that I can start introducing and start building that family that will be the ultimate end game as well.
Do you have any closing remarks?
Yes, I believe that you need to go out there, you need to go learn by the top fanciers that is open to sharing information for you. Unfortunately, I do get that fanciers don't like sharing to people that's in the area. They tend to share with fanciers that, say, for example, Johannesburg's fancier is willing to share his information with a guy in Cape Town, and a guy in Cape Town with Johannesburg, because they're fearful that their competitors is going to do the same and beat him. I don't believe that we need to have fanciers that we're going to beat because we have got a better management system. We need to have fanciers that's prepared to share the information that can beat him in the day with the best bird on the day.
Thanks a lot for joining us.
The pleasure is mine, and thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Pigeon Duiwe News TV. My name is Tato Skone and you're still in Cape Town doing the Cape Town tour. Stay tuned.